What a headshot! What a head!
How's it, guys? This is Dayvy, FPL, and welcome back to the Fantasy Premier League video here on my channel. Now in this video, I'll be taking you through my transfer plan for the upcoming Game Week 10. So yes, we have hit the double digits, Game Week 10 just around the corner, and in this video I'll be discussing how I might be using 3 free transfers to facilitate a certain Egyptian into my team. Now before that, I'll be going over a quick recap of our Game Week 9 has just concluded, where, spoiler alert, we had a massive triple captaincy fail. So tons to get through in terms of Game Week 9 as well as Game Week 10, so sit back, relax, and let's get straight into it. Now, big news about the Game Week 9 recap. As you guys can see on the right hand side, the overall rank is going to make its first appearance. Don't exactly know if I'm one Game Week too soon though. I said this from the start of the season that Game Week 10 is kind of the metric or game week I'm going to use for the introduction of the overall rank, just to let the overall rank settle just a bit. Now that actually might be next week after Game Week 10 has concluded, but since I used the triple captain, I decided to just show it for this game week. So yes, we are just below the top 1 million mark. If you're going to go for a goal, I always say around 1 million by Game Week 10. So fingers crossed we get a green arrow next game week so that rank can improve. Now this rank isn't probably where I'd want to be at this stage of the season. I'll have to go and compare previous seasons, but definitely hasn't been the best start. Now you guys can comment down below what's your overall rank looking like. We can take it slightly more seriously, but if you guys didn't use the triple captaincy chip, you're probably going to be better off than me in the long run. Now in terms of Game Week 9, I scored 73 points with the triple captain, so a pretty decent game week overall. You guys can also let me know how your game week went in terms of Game Week 9. Was it a great week, a good week, or a terrible week? And also let me know if you used the triple captain and if you're also crying at the moment. So let's get on to where those 73 points came from and this nice little green arrow. Starting off on the bench, and it's looking pretty thin at the moment. So Chiwomi won't feature for his club, Greaves is currently injured, and now Gabriel's added to the injury list with that knee injury against Liverpool. He would have only scored 1 point though, although came quite close on a lot of set pieces. But the biggest news from the bench is Fabianski, who started for West Ham and racked up 3 points. So could Fabianski actually be our saviour from Flecken in these easier games? Always nice to have some options, but goalkeeper rotation never really works. Now Fabianski actually did outperform Flecken in Game Week 9, he only racked up 1 point, conceding 2 quick goals to Ipswich. So I don't really know what to say about Flecken. He definitely hasn't been the kind of pick I thought he would be. And against Ipswich at home, only ending with 1 point might actually be criminal. Now I've just used the wild card a few game weeks ago, so I won't be making a goalkeeper change, but at least he outperformed Raya by 1 point this game week. Now I did end up benching Gabriel this week. I started Van der Ven. That decision didn't matter though, as both got 1 point. Van der Ven might have been a little bit lucky as he almost had a red card challenge, and those have been given over the last couple game weeks as last man tackles. So might be a little bit fortunate, as mentioned, to only get a yellow card, but he's racked up 4, 1 away from suspension. Now like kind of Brentford's defense, that Spurs defense is terrible at the moment. I just was playing the odds here and hoped that Arsenal would concede, with most managers with a double up with Raya. Finally though, the clean sheet did come from a Man City double up, Guardiola plus Rico Lewis. I was actually just happy that both of them started this fixture. Guardiola was always going to after being rested in the Champions League, but Rico Lewis played 90 minutes. But with his younger age, just seems like he can play every single midweek and weekend. Guardiola also racked up a lovely 3 bonus points, stealing them from my triple captain, but we'll talk about him when we go over the forwards. So just super happy, as mentioned, that our Man City double up did come in clutch. Not a lot of clean sheets this game week. Now midfield department, the premiums also came in clutch. I kept Bukayo Saka after some news that he might be kind of playing. That was more of a hope though, as Gabriel could have had some bench coverage. The latest on Friday or on the deadline was the fact that he had had some grass training, so I just hoped that he would play against Liverpool on Sunday. You guys know the rest though, started the fixture, took a lovely goal, and added a few bonus points as well. So definitely don't regret kind of keeping hold of him, looks like a good option for the future game weeks, especially when someone like a Son missed out this game week. The next premium, Cole Palmer, scored a goal quite early on against Newcastle, was ruled off for offside, but then came back and scored a goal into the early second half. Now 1 extra bonus point, then Saka taking him to double-digit return, finally owning Cole Palmer and getting a few points. Now what I will add is someone like a SALAH, another premium midfielder, also performed well, but these two come in cheaper and therefore allow me some upgrades in other departments. So generally quite happy that I do have these assets, brought them in on the wildcard. Let's see how the next few game weeks go. Now I gave him a shout out in my captaincy debate for game week 9. It's Mbumo with a massive 15-pointer, scoring a lovely goal at the death to win the fixture. So I should have actually gone for the Mbumo triple captaincy. Some of you were actually recommending it in the deadline stream, but I was just focused on Erling Haaland. So congrats if you guys did go there. But what more needs to be said about Mbumo? One of the most essential picks in the game, just such great value for money. Now unfortunately that's where our midfielder points did stop. Rodgers only got 1 point after being subbed off before the 60th minute. Overall pretty disappointing game for him, looked a little bit tired, and Emre did add on that in the post-match press conference. Just a lot of games at the moment for Aston Villa with the Champions League, but because he comes in so cheap I don't mind if he blanks every so often. The last pick though, and in general Spurs were completely dismal. Kulusevski racked up a yellow card for the 1-pointer. Now I guess the silver lining is the fact that Johnson also blanked, and I think he also got a yellow card, so both these players got 1 point. But for such an attacking side, I mean the stats are looking so good, have the best XG per 90 in the Prem at the moment. Was expecting more from the Spurs team, but that wasn't the case. Now I guess Crystal Palace isn't the easiest fixture, their XG conceded numbers are still looking okay, so I wasn't expecting the world, but at least maybe one attacking return. Now Spurs do have kind of Ipswich in 2 game weeks time, so probably will keep hold of him, but might not for the medium term. Now let's go up front for the biggest kind of decision of the game week and the season as a whole. I used the triple captaincy chip quite late into the deadline stream, of course on Erling Haaland. Now before I kind of say too much, all I want to say is I don't really regret this. If you guys look at the stats, what his performance entailed, yes the outcome wasn't great, but the logic was going to be there. I mean, he racked up the second highest XG in his career in game week 9. Higher than the hat-trick against Ipswich as well as West Ham. That's what you want to see, but obviously not the 6-pointer. 3 big chances missed for Erling Haaland in game week 9. Just kind of wish he converted more of those. So overall, in terms of conclusion, yes, 100% this was a triple captain failure. I would have loved maybe 10 or 15 points, but the 6-pointer doesn't put this in the record books. But even though it was a fail, as mentioned, I don't really regret the decision. The logic was there, the fixture was easy. Just one of those days where Erling Haaland misses a few big chances. Now what I will add, as mentioned in the introduction, is that if you guys do have the triple captaincy chip, you're looking in a great position, and I guess it depends what the mystery chip's going to be. That's the reason I chose to use the triple captain, is with this kind of ambiguity about the mystery chip. Surely it's going to be advantageous in a double game week, and with the potential reduced amount of doubles late in the season, I'm going to bank on using the bench boost and the mystery chip in those double game weeks. Therefore that opened up the chance for a single game week triple captain, and doesn't get much better than Southampton at home for Erling Haaland. So let's see what happens in January with that mystery chip, but those 6 points are locked in for this season. Now the final option is going to be Dom Solanke with only the 2-pointer, continuing on the added misery of that Spurs performance. Now I think Solanke had overall 1 shot in this fixture. We spoke about this in the preview for Game Week 9, how Dom Solanke is playing slightly deeper, not the position you want to see your FPL forward being in. Like with Kulusevski though, Ipswich at home in Game Week 11, probably going to keep hold for that fixture. So overall, a pretty solid game week even without the triple captain would have been a green arrow, and as mentioned, in the 1 million by Game Week 10 was always kind of the target. Let me know how your game week went as well as your overall rank now that we can take it slightly more seriously. Always like to see how you guys are keeping up this season. But now let's turn our attention to Game Week 10, the upcoming game week, and let's run through the team selection with no transfers made. Now I do have 3 free transfers, but 0.0 in the bank, so I'll have to shift some funds around if I want to go for some upgrades. Now you guys can keep those transfers in mind as I go through my team selection, and maybe recommend some moves that you would do if this was your team. Now I just want to add that there's a lot of midweek football coming up. The EFL Cup is going to have its next round, so tons of Premier League sides are going to be playing this midweek. So I would therefore recommend to hold out on those transfers for as long as possible, and we are back to the normal Saturday deadlines. Let's see if I can make any upgrades with these free transfers. I might need to spend some on the bench. So at the moment, Fabianski against Forest, I do prefer Flecken slightly for this fixture, and then I've got Gabriel, Greaves, and finally Chiwomi. Now if Greaves is back, this is a slightly better game, Leicester at home, your classic relegation battle, but at the moment he's still kind of red flagged. Gabriel as well is looking like he might miss the upcoming game week, don't exactly know how long he's going to be out for, and doubt Arteta gives us any significant confirmation. Maybe we'll get some kind of journalist article coming up this midweek. I'll be all ears, as if he is out for the medium term, I'll be forced to use a transfer. Now we spoke about Fabianski and Flecken as Fulham away. I do expect both teams to concede though. Flecken does usually make more saves though, and that's how we're backing the Brentford goalkeeper. Don't have any expectations though. Then our back three is Van der Ven as well as the Man City double up. Both teams are the best fixture. Aston Villa and Bournemouth, both teams have the potential to do well. Do have more faith in the Man City clean sheet though. However, I do believe a benching for Rico Lewis is on the horizon. Fingers crossed it's in the EFL Cup. Then with Van der Ven, they won't keep a clean sheet. This is a very tough game, and that's why a defensive transfer might be on my mind. At least our midfield department doesn't look too bad. We've got Saka against Newcastle away, and then Palmer against United at home. Let's see how big the new manager bounce is going to be after Ten Hag was sacked today. I still back Palmer to do well in Chelsea overall, but let's see what happens. At least this is a home fixture. Then with Mbeumo against Fulham, no complaints, I can see him scoring, and then Rodgers and Kulusevski are playing each other. So quite a tough game to call, but I do expect both teams to score. Fingers crossed it's a high scoring one. Then up front, Campsey armband on Erling Haaland. However, that Bournemouth away game might be deceptively tough. We saw Arsenal struggle there a few game weeks ago. I guess it depends on the game state if Man City score early, but not super confident after that triple Campsey fail. Then with Dom Solanke, as mentioned, Ipswich at home next week, I might as well keep him. Let's see if he can perform better against Aston Villa. So this team at the moment doesn't look too bad, but with 3 free transfers, I might use an almost mini wildcard. I'm actually going to go on to my transfer plan right now. If I don't choose to make any kind of big adjustments and change my premiums, the transfer might come down to the fitness of Gabriel. If he is out, I might move for someone like an Aït-Nouri. Yes, he's also on 4 yellow cards, 1 away from suspension, but I'm going to take the risk with the good fixtures. I therefore will play Aït-Nouri over Van der Ven as he has a better fixture, and that improves my bench coverage slightly. That'll also give me some extra money in the bank if I do want to upgrade someone like a Rodgers or a Kulusevski. Rodgers more likely, as Spurs have Ipswich next week. So those 2 free transfers or 1 free transfer might be what I do if I don't change my premiums, but let's go over a transfer plan where I do. So the transfer plan I want to be going over covers the hot topic of Mo Salah, and should we be looking to bring him in for the future game weeks. Now for me, what this comes down to is I don't want to kind of downgrade too many of my options, and therefore this will be Erling Haaland out, swapping a premium in front of the premium. Now this obviously won't be 1 free transfer, you can't bring a midfielder in for a forward, but you guys understand where I'm coming from. So the biggest thing I want to go over is it worth kind of going for Mo Salah over Erling Haaland, and that comes down to captaincy. So I've brought up the next 6 fixtures for both teams. Let's go over a review, and you guys can tell me what you think, is it worth it? So I do actually believe that Mo Salah for game week 10 is the better Campsey option. Brighton at home is better than Bournemouth away. However, in the next fixture, game week 11, I do prefer the Brighton away game. But if you guys have someone like a Heung-min Son, you might want to captain them instead. Then obviously in game week 12, Southampton away for Mo Salah is probably the week that you guys want to captain him. What I will add though is that Man City do have Spurs, and I can see them doing well. As a Van der Ven owner, I know how bad that defense has been. Both teams do play each other in game week 13, so that's probably a write-off. And the last 2 fixtures are a little bit debatable. So I actually don't think it's as easy of a decision to actually go for Mo Salah over Erling Haaland. I feel like it might be quite a close one. Now generally in FPL, these close decisions have some big point swings. So out of these 2 options, who would you prefer in your team? I'm going to have to do some more thinking about this move. As mentioned, it's quite close for me. Guess it depends on who you want to captain more. Now I guess the added bonus of taking out Erling Haaland and Mo Salah is the amount of funds it produces. And if I was to do this move, I would take out Rodgers for Mo Salah. That's quite a big upgrade when you guys do think about it. But don't worry, you guys can still afford a very good forward option. Let's go over my 2 favorites. So at the moment, my favorite Erling Haaland replacement is going to be Cunha, and he comes in at 6.5 million. So what you guys can kind of think of is Rodgers plus Haaland versus Cunha plus Salah. The latter does sound slightly better. The reason I do prefer Cunha, even though the stats might not be that great, the fixtures look great, almost a lovely sea of green. There's another option though at a cheaper price tag. I've spoken about him quite a bit in the Ultimate Guides. It's Raul Jimenez from Fulham. So what he allows me to do is save a bit of funds to afford a better upgrade elsewhere, and that could be a Kulusevski in the future game weeks. So Fulham's fixtures might not be as good, but they still have some great fixtures. and at the cheaper price tag, a bit more flexibility on points. But if I was to pick one, it's probably Cunha. You guys know I'm a fixture manager, and unfortunately Chris Wood isn't featured here because their fixtures get a lot tougher. There are quite a few other replacements though if you guys want to go there. Probably wouldn't go for a Calvert-Lewin, but he plays Southampton this week. Surely he stops blanking. But this debate of Erling Haaland out for Mo Salah is heavy on my mind. Can't say I've reached a conclusion at the moment, but I might by that Game Week 10 deadline. Let me know what you guys are doing for your transfer plans. Are you guys also looking at taking out Erling Haaland for Mo Salah? Your route might be slightly better than mine. Let me know what your transfer plan is. Tons of contents thought to come up though with the team selection where I might have reached a conclusion. I'm going to wait and see what this midweek football has in store for us. This is basically a wrap for the guys. Hope you guys did enjoy it. Please don't forget to like if you did subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. Team selection coming up shortly. We will be discussing these moves further, so make sure you guys have those notifications on for that one. But for the time being, I'm signing off from Dayvy FPL and I'm out. Cheers, bye.